Hi guys, John from B&B Campers. It's a bit windy today, but I'm going to do your handover video on your Burstner. So it's an Elegance i821, and we'll start on the driver's side. So straight away, you'll notice we've got reversing camera. What have we got? Mirror sort of adjustments that you can do from the actual stalk itself and use as a little joystick basically. Windows, there's actually a window button there. So you've got a 6-speed manual gearbox, reverse being over to the top left with the pulling the button up to get there. You've got a really nice single DIN Blaupunk head unit there. You've also got air conditioning, which works from that button just there. Hazard warning lights in the middle. Lock and unlock the cab from inside the cab, which is really nice. Front and rear fog lights. Lights on the left-hand stalk just there, so dip beam, main beam. And then you've got indicators left and right. Washers and wipers are on the right-hand side with the washer fluid if you pull up like that. I think that's about it for the cab. On the driver's side, that is, anyway. The only thing to point out, it's not so bad on this one because you've got a bit further to actually get out, but just bear in mind that the handbrake sits on the right hand side of these, so when you jump out, just be careful not to catch yourself because it does hurt. Gas locker, so it's a refillable system you've got in here, and that's refillable from that point in there. Keep that closed up. So to turn these bottles on, it's anti-clockwise round to the left, like so. And then obviously to turn them off, it's clockwise round to the right. You've got a duo controller, so basically if you leave it up in the middle there, it will use both bottles of gas. We've had to change the pigtails on these, so they're 2020 dated, but they are brand new. All these pipes are just basically for the refilling part of it. But yeah, otherwise it's just turn these off before you start driving. And that's it really. That's about all you need to know, to be honest. Right, down here we've got your two Varta leisure batteries. These will be. So the actual engine battery will be under the bonnet. So that's that. In fact, actually, that's a lie. The engine battery might not be under the bonnet in that one. I'll have a look in a minute. But yeah, so that's where the leisure batteries are. So that's what powers everything in the back end, like your lights and everything like that. Fridge vents. So top one up there, and at the bottom. The one at the top will be where the actual exhaust is for the fridge itself. Toilet locker. So if I just push both of those buttons in at the same time to open this locker up. You've got a SOG system in here. So all you need to be sort of wary about is when you pull this out by putting this lever at the bottom, make sure that you don't accidentally knock this pipe off. But basically, push and hold the yellow button when you're emptying, and empty it from this side. Refill this with a little bit of your blue fluid, give it a swish around, and then just pop it back in, making sure that you don't squish that pipe up too much. That's it. And then you can lock that up by locking the bottom lock there. External 240 volt and 12 volt point as well. So that's a continental style point in there. Your garage, you've got a few interesting things in here. So you've got the waste drain, which is the big grey pipe at the top. So you've got a big lever just there for that. And your fresh and boiler drains down here. So if you want to drain the system out entirely, then you basically just drain them out. Both of these upright, and that'll just drain out the entire system. You've got Aldi heating in this van, which means it's almost like wet central heating. So it works really, really well, and we don't tend to get many problems with them, to be fair. But that's why you've got these kind of little slits, here and there around the van. There's just sort of like little radiators dotted around. But yeah, that's about all I need to. Well, that's all there is to it, really. It's quite a simple system, really. But I will show you. So this is the vent for the Audi system. So if you had the Audi system on, or you're heating or your hot water or whatever, you should feel hot air coming out through the sides or underneath. Your hookup point, so just by the way, we're on the passenger side now. You see just how nicely it's all been cleaned up, really nice and shiny. So yeah, if you want to hook up your van, access to, you know, all of your plug sockets and things like that inside the van, that's where you do so from there, at home or at your campsite, whatever. Down here we've got a few little bits. So this is all for your Audi that's the pump for the water around the Audi system. You got storage. You'd call this a double skinned motorhome. So essentially it means that you've got two floors. You've got this floor which is for your storage, which is literally, you could fit near enough anything, you know, any amount of stuff all the way through there. But then you've also got the floor inside the van as well, which is obviously a foot or so higher up. But yeah, that's all that in there. You've got a little tray which goes all the way through there as well, which someone's fitted, so you can fill that up with whatever you need. There are some really nice extras in there actually. There's a few pumps and you know, tyre pumps and all that kind of stuff in there. You got your Electroblock PSU, so your power supply unit. There's fuses all the way through there, and they're in German, but they are labelled as to what they do. So if you had a problem with anything, then obviously let us know, but you know, it's all there quite clearly laid out, so if you wanted to check something yourself, you can do, and it's all just down here, nicely sort of right in your face, so you can't sort of miss anything. Yeah. Freshwater Inlet is just here above that, so push in and round to the left to open that up, push in and round to the right to get it to its lock position, and then when it is in the lock position, pop your key in and just turn it the only way it'll go, and then it just spins. Can't take it out. Exactly the same key and everything for the diesel cap. So again, push in and round to the left, in and round to the right, and then turn the key. That's it, locked up. Bonnet release is just inside here. See this lever just inside there? That's how you get to your bonnet. And yeah, actually, when I was saying about the engine battery sits underneath here. So if you want to get to that, then it's underneath that cap in there. Don't want to give you any false information there. But yeah, so that's about it for the outside, I think. If I walk around now and show you inside the van, it's probably more exciting, really. Right here. Right, so the Audi systems are straightforward, but the only thing you need to remember really is that you've got the same system does the hot water and the heating as well. So what that means is you've got this pump button down here, all right? And what that does is it pumps the water around the van to all the little radiators and things that there are, and you know that's how you sort of get the hot water to go around to the radiators and actually warm the van up. So that's not your water pump, all right? Just, you know, first off, that's not the water pump for your taps, basically. Right, so that's the pump for sending the water around. I'm just going to open a couple of the skylights so you can see that working as well, but also because it's really hot on here, if I'm being honest. Right, so open that one up. And these ones work really easy. Just twist that and then push open. And you can go a bit further as well if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. So yeah, okay. So if I show you probably the most logical thing is to show you the control panel. So you see at the moment it says 12 volt off. So if I turn it on now by pressing this left hand button here, that's turned it on. And straight away you see this little sign in here which is shaped like a tap. That means your water pump is on. All right. So you've got a submersible water pump in here, so it doesn't mean when that button's on you don't have to turn anything off because there's not a specific button for the water pump. The reason for that is that it's a submersible pump which only works from wires from electricity. So it doesn't work on water pressure. It literally works by you pulling the tap, micro switch inside the tap tells the pump to work, and when you put the tap back down again, micro switch tells it to stop. So the good thing about that is that there's not loads and loads of pressure there to sort of cause leaks and breakages and things like that. So as long as you got your 12 volt on, water comes through. So this is going to be the first thing you're going to want to do when you come into the van as well, by the way. So pop your 12 volt on, come to your sink, pour the water through on cold, and all the way around to the hot as well. And as you can see, a little bit of air coming through, but not very much at all. And then once I'm happy that there's not loads of air coming through there, I'm going to switch that off. And there you go. So that's the only way really that you can tell that your boiler is full, and that you can go ahead and start using everything on hot water. All right, so that's going to be that's the first thing you're going to want to do, the absolutely first thing. Once you've done that, you can, like I said to you, you can use your boiler and everything like that, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. But here's what, I'll just show you a few other bits. So you've got on the left hand side here, you've got the clock at the top, which is basically you can go through and set that if you want to. Then below that, you've got this battery symbol. So it's telling you got 100% power in your leisure battery, which is that one there. And that's how much it's using and how much voltage. So that's perfect, 13.6. I'd imagine there's a solar panel on the roof of this. And then you've got 12.5 volts in your engine battery, which again is perfect. That's fine. And there you go. So that's just going through them. Below that, water. So you've got half a tank of fresh water, half a tank of wastewater. All right, so that's showing you those. And then up here is nothing really. You don't need to sort of worry about those at all. All right, so to turn this on, the pump, to turn it off, if you ever wanted to, you come onto the water section here, like that, and then press the OK button and that should go off. But you don't need to turn that off because, well, like I said to you, it doesn't work on any pressure. So if you turn the 12 volt off like this, if I push and hold that, 12 volt off, now the pump will not work. Okay, that's it. It's not running when you turn the 12 volt on or anything just because that light's on there. It just means that it's powered up, basically. It's ready to use. All right, so you don't need to make that. You don't need to make sure that button's off or anything like that. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you the Audi system now. So on the left-hand side here is how you would use the Audi system on the electric. So if you had a hookup cable plugged in, you could have this working on 1, 2, or 3 electric, which all pull quite a lot. I think the 3 electric is nearly like 10 amps or something. So just be cautious on that one. You've then got how to use it on gas. So push up on there and that'll basically prime the system and make sure that it's ready to use on gas. And then on the right hand side, slightly more importantly, you've got up 1, which is hot water and heating, or up 2, which is hot water only. Okay, so in a minute that system will light up on gas because I've got the gas symbol on, and it will start heating up the water. Alright, if I had this symbol down and I had the gas one up, 1, 2 or 3, and I had a hookup cable plugged in, it would start to do whatever I'm telling it to do on this side on the electric only. So because I've got it on gas only, it'll do the water with the gas. So if I just leave that in a minute, it'll be good to go anyway. But that's all you need to do. So I'll just switch that off for now because you don't need to see it. Actually, you won't be able to see the water's hot anyway because it's only a video. So right, that's the Audi system down there. That's your heating and your hot water anyway. You've got absolutely loads of storage in this van. Loads and loads of storage. So you can go through and lock all of those up or unlock them. Up over the top. All the windows should work just exactly the same. So you push the button or pull this up like that. Nice and easy. Your cooker, you've got ignition for all of those. Oh, nice and quick. Like that. So that ignites all 4 of those. Your grill and your oven as well. Got a light inside the oven, and I don't know if I need to show you how to use all these because it's just like a household one. It's no different. So you literally just light it up. You've got a thermocouple on each of these, which is the little prong of metal at the back, and what that does is it senses burning gas coming through. So if for whatever reason the flame gets blown out and you haven't turned the dial, then basically the thermocouple will notice that, and it will stop any excess gas coming through after about 15 seconds or so, so that you can't sort of load the van up with gas. So that's that. That's the cooker. So if I pop that back down again now. In the wardrobe, safe down there, and up here is your Audi coolant. All right, so that's basically where you top up the water in the coolant for the Audi system. That's that. And then the actual Audi system itself is down here. I'm wondering if that's probably some coolant for it, but don't hold me to that, because I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's the Audi system down there. Just a nice chunky hardware in box. But you know, they are, like I said to you, they are really good. You shouldn't be able to go too far wrong with that at all. Down here, that's the top of the water tank. It's actually a fresh water tank, should be. Put that back down there. And this is one of those radiators I was saying about. So that's, you know, you get warm air coming up through there. You add that on. Nice typical Burstner light, quite pretty. In the bathroom, oh, here's another thing as well that I like about Burstners, is that you can actually open this door all the way up and have it sort of closed off as a little section for yourself, you know, away from the other side there, so you can have the toilet and the shower all to yourself, you know, without anyone seeing through. So I think it's really, really clever how they do that. Sometimes as well, on the slightly bigger ones, they've got another door here, so you can actually like have a completely closed off section. But you know, it's brilliant, really. I love them, personally. Right, so bathroom, exactly the same, just a standard sink, hot and cold, obviously. One thing to point out is if you ever have a problem with not being able to get any water through or something, you know, from either of the taps, make sure that you come to all three taps, so this one, the shower and the sink, and pour the water through like I showed you at the start, just to try and purge out any air, and then you should be good to go. Toilet works from that button up there. That's your flush. So it's a fresh water flush. Open the flap, that drains it out. Close the flap. The SOG unit works as soon as you open that flap up as well, by the way. So basically it just sends out any sort of excess gases, if you like. You know, they are quite good. But yeah, so you know, the only thing to point out with that is that if you can't take the cassette out from outside, it means that you've left the flap open rather than closed. So just make sure that you close that flap when you finish using the toilet. I'm not going to show you how the shower works because I'm going to get soaking wet if I do that, but it's exactly the same style tap as all the rest of them, and you can move that up and down on there just like a household shower, really. And the light for that is in there, this button here. So what else? Fridge. Okay, so I've got the gas on at the moment, so I can show you it all working. You've got an Aes Dometic Fridge. So AES, like you see there, it says automatic energy selection. So as you can probably imagine, that means that it will automatically select what energy it thinks is most efficient to use to cool the fridge down. But I've never really found them very useful at all. I don't think they, well, I don't know. I don't think there's much point in them, because if you want to use the fridge on gas, all you need to do is this. Look, if I just show you. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's lit up straight away. If I want to use the fridge on hookup, I'd do that. If the hookup cable was plugged in, obviously. And if I wanted to use the fridge on 12 volt when the engine's running, I'd do that. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So I don't, personally, I've never really understood why they have the automatic button, because it's so easy just to choose which one you want. So I've never understood it, but the option is there. I mean, there you go. So the light's on auto and it has chosen gas. So for this instance, it has chosen the right one, but you know, otherwise I find it pointless. So the way you need to use it is gas or electric to cool the fridge down in the first place, whether you've got hot or cold things in the fridge. It will take about 3 or 4 hours to actually get cold, because that's just how long they take. Once you have got it cold and everything inside the fridge is cold, you can then switch it down to 12 volt, but that'll only work when your engine's running. So the 12 volt won't get the fridge cold on its own. You need to have it cold already, and then once it is cold, switch it down to 12 volt for when you're driving, and then when you get to where you're going, everything will still be cold inside the fridge, and then switch it back over to one of the other two for the rest of your sort of holiday. So that's sort of the way they work. You've also got your step button is down here, so step in, step out, like that. You need to obviously bring that in before you start driving. Light switches for, you know, all over the place really. You can go through and choose which ones you do and you don't want on. When you turn the 12 volt off, everything will turn off anyway, so you don't need to sort of turn them all off individually if you don't want to. Okay, so I don't know if there's much else to show you, to be honest. I've shown you how the windows work. I've shown you how the... Oh, actually, I'll point something out. The windows, because they're on a latch system, I'll just show you. Open that up. You got 1, 2, and that's it. So you got 2 latches, all right? So if I just show you what I'm talking about, if you were parked right up against a wall or another van or whatever, and you open up your window to this latch, yeah, and it was pretty much touching the wall or whatever you're close to, you need to be able to leave yourself this much more in order to get it to come back in, because when it's on that latch, you can't just pull it back in. It won't come until you push it a little bit further to let it come back in. So what I'm saying is, make sure that you don't park really close to something if you want to open your windows up and then close them again, because you'll find that you won't be able to like do the latch to sort of allow it to come back in on itself. You're just trying to point out all the windows are the same, so if you're really close to something, if I was you, I would try not to open the window up as best you can anyway. At least if you're desperate to open the windows up, it's a good thing to sort of know. You can have them on the latch, so that's that part there, all right, so that it's in the middle, so the window is now open about 1 inch or half an inch. And if you go around and do that on all of the windows, you do actually get a pretty decent breeze coming through. So rather than having them actually wide open, you can actually lock them up like that. And that's another thing. If you're going to leave the van for a long, long time, if you're happy with doing that, then it is better to do that on a few windows so that you don't get any condensation or damp sort of forming inside the van. If you can do that on, well, even all of the windows really is best. You know, if you're comfortable doing that, then great. But if you're not, then don't worry. But it just stops any sort of damp forming inside the van. That's only if you're going to leave the van for a long time anyway, not for if you're just leaving it for a week. But yeah, there you go, just a little tip anyway. Yeah, so I think I've shown you everything I can. But if you think I've missed anything out or you want anything going over again, then let us know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.